Good evening, Super League fans worldwide. It is the 18th of December. I am finished for Christmas and all focus is on the Super League. Behind me, if I get this the right way round, is the man, the myth, the legend that was former Haller manager Russell Boyce, the ghost of Christmas past, as I'm calling him. And the reason he is staring daggers into the back of my head should become clear at the end of this short conversation. With me, I am pleased to say, two of the brightest stars on the Super League Christmas tree. First, a title contender? Who knows? Mr. PR Greeves is with us. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, buddy. How are you?
Living the dream as always, pal. Living the dream. And again, a regular now on the camera, on the Zoom calls. It's Ste Wright. How are you, pal?
I'm all right, thanks, mate. Been a hectic all week, but how are you?
Yeah, very, very well. Thank you for asking. As you would have all seen and heard by now, there was a massive 2-hour transfer spectacular on Wednesday to make up for the lack of action. And the three of us, unless anyone else joins in the meantime, are here to look ahead to Sunday's game week 10. And what should be, unless a special fixture gets announced we don't know about, the last Super League action of 2020. Let's dive straight into it. I've got the games in a kind of random order here. So we will look first at second place Haggis Hunters, who won 2-0 last week against Hooligans. They are playing 7th place Sloths, who lost 2-1 to yours truly last week. Steve, I'm going to come to you first, and let's give you the home side on this one. What are you making of Haggis, and do you think they will be confident going into this?
Yeah, definitely, especially with them being at home. I would have thought they're going about the business very well, and as much as I like Mr. Campbell, etc., and he's talking. As much as he's talking about victimisation, I think they are going a bit under the radar as well, in terms of people are not paying so much attention because they don't seem to be playing well, but they've picked up more than enough results to put them there or thereabouts. If they start now and go on a run, they could really, really push for at least being top and then having a real chance come end of season playoffs.
Do you think, and this will become a recurring theme throughout these fixtures, do you think it's important come game week 10, come the Christmas break, when, you know, the action isn't there, so we'll be doing a lot of other promotional stuff, in terms of playing the mind games even and everything else? Is it important to, you know, for a team like Haggis to be top at Christmas? Is it important for a team like Sloths to be in the top 6 at Christmas?
I think for everybody, I think everybody will be looking to go out with a win regardless of where it's going to put you in the league. Obviously, everybody up there who can finish top of the league after this game week, I'm sure they'll be absolutely buzzing to go there. Someone like myself, who, if I get 3 points, it pushes me quite up depending on all the results. So I'd rather be start looking a little bit further up than down. It's the league's that tight, I think, as that post went out, that Swan put out in terms of results last year as we go into this year. It shows how tight it is if you get a couple of decent results. So I think everybody's main priority, regardless of where they're going to be at the end of it, is just get a victory and then have a bit of a look back while we've got a bit of time, and then see where we go when it returns.
Greeves, let's bring you in and discuss the Sloths. Something Steve said there is anyone can beat anyone. And I think we've seen already Sloths can go and hammer someone 4-0, but they're just as easily go and throw a 6-0 defeat in as well. What are you thinking about them going into this game?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because Haggis have got a few players coming back. But Sloths changed around the past couple of times and went the having Tomasi in the centre on his own instead of his 3 CDMs. So I don't know if he's going to revert back to what he was getting his results with or stick to the new formation. But I think if he reverts back, he might get a bit more success because he was having, well, Collins was firing him. Then he changed it a bit and he sort of stifled. So I don't know if he's had another tinker or not.
No, it's a very fair point. Let's go with predictions for this one. I'll in the interest of fairness, I will go first. I'm going to say that Haggis run out unconvincing 2-1 winners. Steve?
I don't think they were overly convincing when they beat Scott 4-2. I think, for me personally, and this is no disrespect at all to Rob. I know themselves feel a bit victimised at times. I think they do a really dominant performance, and I think this one could be it for them.
I'm not letting you off that easy. What's the score going to be?
3-0.
And Mr. Greaves?
I think Haggis will scrape a 1-0. I don't think their keepers have got a lot of. I'm not too. He's got a wealth of talent throughout the whole team, but I think keeper is where he's lacking.
Okay, let's move on to the next game, and we will have a look at Churchtown versus Bostock Stanley. Miss Greaves, we'll start with you this time for the home side. Are you Churchtown won 2-1 at Leddersford last week? Is that the turning point of their season?
Well, they've got to build on it. Now they're at home again. They've got 2 home games, and they can get a bit of momentum behind them now. They'll get a bit of confidence going in from that win. And with Bostock coming in, Scott's already said he's playing 1 at the back, which I think is going on the teams this year. I don't believe anyone has won away with 1 at the back. So it's been tried a lot this year, but I think 1 at the back could be, with the way that home teams play this year, because there has been that distinct switch with the lack of away wins. I think playing 1 at the back away is very bold. So I think Churchtown will scrape away.
And Steve, with regards to the current league leaders, someone you'll be very familiar with, given that you played them last week. What are the strengths that they're going to bring into this game?
Well, I think I wouldn't say in terms of ratings so far it's been massively impressive, but he's getting more fits and starts out of Zidane for a start than I've personally seen from being supporting the league. I think Joe Cole showed plenty of versatility for him as well, especially that game he went to wing back and absolutely smashed it. Looking at his formation as well, he's obviously going big on counter this weekend. I'm surprised he's gone as he has. I really am. But I know after speaking to him 2 or 3 weeks back, he's had one in the back of his pocket for a few games that he's been tempted. So again, has he stacked too much there back for Kieran to plough through? But if he puts them 3 up top that he has been doing, I think it's going to put a lot of pressure and keep that all back 5 back, and not give him much of a counter. It's going to be, for me, it's probably one of the most intriguing games this weekend, just because of basically the way we've seen Kieran set up most of the year, and then how Scott's set up this week.
No, I think it's certainly going to be an interesting tactical battle, as you've both outlined there. My score prediction for this one is 1-1. Greavesy, as you represented the home side, you can go first. Second, even, I should say.
Yeah, I think I'm confident that Churchtown will give Bostock a run for the money, and I think it will actually end 2-2.
And Steve?
I was going to say 1 apiece as well, mate. I can see him, for some reason, I can see Scott getting an early goal and then Churchtown ploughing a load of pressure and getting 1 back. Whether it can be turned from that point, who knows? But I just think Scott's set up really, really defensively to see an overly open game, to see loads of goals, sorry.
Okay. Match number 3 on my list is another team you're very familiar with, Mr. Wright. You host the Dragons. Going into this game, you, as we've already discussed, lost 2-1 last week. The Dragons also lost. They went down 1-0 to Greaves' Locomotive Boston. What are your thoughts ahead of the game, Steve?
I I really thought Dragons had turned a corner with that 4-0 win a couple of games back. And to be fair, Greeves went there and did a really good job with them. I think they've got certain players in certain positions that can cause a lot of trouble. It's if they're getting the right amount of ball to them. I think they've done a little bit of tinkering, like I've done a lot of. I think it's always difficult to predict what they're going to do, because I think, like I say, they've got a lot of players that can do what they want them to do. It's just getting it out of them. So I'm massively looking and hoping for my first win. I've gone a little bit different myself this week, in preparation for anything that's going to happen coming up with transfers, etc. So we're going to see how that pans out. But one thing I can say is, at this present moment, any home game, I just can't be confident at the minute. Till I've got one in my back pocket, I can't give any confidence whatsoever. Because, like I said last week and probably the week before, Martin said he didn't win for 13 home games on bounce. I just can't get it out of the back of my head.
You can't let the chairman live there rent free, pal. Greavesy, you, despite beating the Dragons last time out, is there like a shred of comfort you can give them going into this? Was there anything there they can build on?
Well, I gave him a lot of credit. I was really, really impressed by the way my dogged shithousery performance, just scraping through and holding on. I was as I put out in the week, when you face a front four of Batistuta, Nedved, Ortega and Seedorf, you know you've done well to keep a clean sheet. So all they've got to do is get them firing and they'll do well. It's just how they set them up. Are they going to stick with the 3 AMCs, or are they going to change it up a little bit?
I'm very intrigued every time we discuss Dragons with who is taking charge of each game, because I think they've all already shown, whether it be through the Dragons or through their brilliant own champ series that they do on a Thursday, that they've all got their own individual sort of quirks and takes that they'll on a team. I'm going to back you, Ste, and I'm going to say you will win 3-1. What's your prediction?
Well, I wouldn't be much of a bloke if I didn't back myself. I fancy myself to scrape a 1-0 90th minute after champing, probably. I think that was what way it's looking. I'm going to get one at the minute. So. And
Greavesy?
I think Dudley will get a 1-0 win.
Okay, a lot of support for you there, Steve. So that must help build the confidence a little bit going into it. Game number 4. Let's talk about a team that Steve probably doesn't want to pick up any points at all, and that is because we're going to talk Northern Burn, who lost 4-0 last time out. Sorry, Ian, to remind you. They are playing the team who I said on Wednesday's transfer show have probably been the most impressive for me. They play 5th place Fulchester, who did lose themselves last time out in the glory game against the Gazelles. Game number 4, so I believe that means Mr. PR Greaves, you are on the home side.
Yeah, they do impress me, but they're not clicking. There's a lot of players inside I would have in mind, but they just haven't got out of first gear. They just don't seem. They seem like a team that's got a lack of desire, and the way they rolled over and let Alf tickle the belly on Sunday sort of summed it up.
Does that
be interesting to see how he came? I don't know. I think sometimes it can come. Everyone's had it where they've played and you've gone in, say you've just won the league, and you load up, you go second season syndrome, and you go 10 games and you haven't done anything, and you're thinking, what the bloody hell's going on? I just think that he was dealt the cursed strike partnership of Crespo and Kesman, and it ran through the squad. So he's got to get out of that rut and maybe shit out a 1-0 win to get out of it, to get a little bit of confidence, to then start getting more expressive.
It's common knowledge now that one of that strike pairing that you just mentioned is on his way. As we're also discussing Fulchester, Greasy, is Crespo a myth?
By what I've seen of the Super League, yes, but I think on his own he could do a very good job. But I don't think he works well in a partnership.
And coming on to you, Steve, have you been as impressed by Fulchester as I have?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I think he's got him absolutely firing, and I think he's getting. I know he had a decent spell of Dragons, but I think he's getting best version of Ryan Giggs. I've personally seen some game from any time I've had him or following this. To be fair, he had fits and starts at Dragons, but he's got him regularly firing, and then if you've got him firing assists, that with Veron at side of him, I think he's going absolutely fantastic. He's Macca, to be fair. I know one thing I will say as well is whether it hinders me or not, I'm in the same boat as everybody else, just rooting for him to get that first win to try and kick him on a bit as well. I'm not looking on my own personal place or position with that. I think, to be fair, I think if anybody, probably a couple of games, he's probably deserved more of a win out of any game than I've deserved out of games at home, per se, I probably would have said. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be a tough game, and I've got a feeling that Macca might just. I don't think he'll go full out there, knowing the game and obviously what he can throw around corner to you. I've got a feeling he'll go there for the shit housing like he likes to do. He's obviously open and honest about that, because I'd have that in back of my head every time I'm facing Burn without having a win. If I'm honest, that it's going to come at some point, and then you got to try and do your best to negate it. But then on the flip side, that could hinder you more, worrying more about them than yourself. So again, after Churchtown one, it's actually the game that I'm looking forward to next after that one, because it's I think it's going to throw a bit of an interesting game up.
Something you said there is something I was considering when I was making my notes for this show, and that is Burn are due a win. Sadly for them, I don't think it will come in this one, and I have gone for Northern Burn 0, Fulchester 3. Greavesy?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think a 3-0 Fulchester win.
And Steve?
Yeah, I can't see Burn turning him over, but draw Masters, so 1 or 2 apiece.
Okay. Game number 5 on this week's preview is arguably game of the round, as 4th placed Gazelles host 3rd place Locomotive Boston. While Mr. Greaves tries to find a sportsman-like way of describing his team's chances and not playing too many mind games, Steve, let's ask you about the Gazelles first. They were pre-season favourites. They had a slow start, but they are currently occupying a top 4 place. Is the only way up for them?
I certainly think so. I were in that boat of saying that they were going to be up there or thereabouts. Again, could it be one of them, like as seen with Ian before? Probably more so, I think, than this year. Having too many good players in your team can hinder you a little bit. But I think Craig's obviously ridden the tide of that and now got on performing. And yeah, I think he's really massively starting to look impressive with him. Regardless of what's behind is superb, but he's now getting results out of what's up there at the top as well. It's been pretty heavily criticised. So fair play to him for getting a tune out of them up top. And again, and it's another interest. Well, every game's interesting every week in Super League, but I just think that going into break, I just think it's just thrown up a big round of if, buts and maybes this week.
I couldn't agree more with that, to be honest. Greavesy, looking from your perspective, you go into the game on the back of a win, they go into the game on the back of a win, you're both occupying prominent positions in the league table. Is this your toughest challenge today?
I'd say so, but I am quite confident. I've got my little shithouses working well, and as I've been taking a lot on board of what comments and praises I've been getting, and the biggest praise I've got is a hard team to break down. So I'm embracing that tactic. I'm not there for the purists. People aren't going to go look at the superstars in that squad. They're going to think, shit, how am I going to break that down? And that's what I'm going to go for.
Are you introducing us to the Sam Allardyce of the Super League?
Well, there'll be no long ball. I will like to. I do like that. I gave part of my tactic I put into the chairman. Actually, got a bit of a question, and they were like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "Yes, I do," and I'll give it a go, and hopefully it'll surprise people. So it's always nice when something gets a bit of questions for something that you do quite often. So if it pulls off, it will be good. But if it doesn't, I'm quite reliable. As I say, my team can cope. I've got the best performing keeper in the league. And I know he probably is due a 5 soon. And if he does it, I'll take it on the chin. But I am there to shithouse a 1-0 win and take my spoils at the same time.
I will take that 1-0 as your prediction for this game. Unfortunately for you, I also think it'll be 1-0, but the other way around. So the casting vote goes to you, Steve, who is picking up the victory.
I do slightly see Gazelles nicking it, but I see a couple of early goals, and then there's going to be, I think it's going to be 89, 90-minute drama for some reason, looking at this one. So a very, very late 2-1 win for Gazelles, which may turn into a 1-1, depending on Greaves' shithouses.
Our penultimate fixture on paper is mid-table mediocrity, but the two sides involved are anything but that description. We have 10th place, Leddersford. Bit of a shock that, who went down 2-1 last week. They host a team that have been banging form of late, but they are still only sitting in 8th after losing to Haggis last week, the Halls Vikings. Game number 6. So, Greasy, you are on the home side. And after Mr. Wright begging at the start, I have just about managed to plan it this way that he doesn't have to discuss them. So, please, it's all about Leddersford.
Well, with it, he's got very good home form, and with his favoured crop circle, as I said earlier, one at the back does favour working at home, so he's got that in his favour. And it is, if it clicks, it clicks. He has got the record of he'll either hump someone or be humped. So it'll be interesting to see how Jens's 3-man midfield copes with the 3 CDMs.
Steve, using that analogy, can you see Jens being the man to give Hodgie a right to pump him? Looking at where he's going, he's made a couple of changes to that. He's had to make a couple of changes to that settle back 4, back 5, which, whether it could be an hindrance or not, I don't know. Coming off the back of a result and having to shift about what's really probably made it work for him in terms of the back 4 with his CDM. I can just see there might be a little bit too much change back there for him to maybe get a result. Okay, we're taking both of your comments on board. I am sticking with form on this one, and I am going for a Halls 2-1 win. PR?
I think Leddersford will get a 2-1 win.
And Steve?
1 apiece in my book. I think Jens has got. I think with all that changing at back, I think he might be liable to concede. But going against 1 at back, we're having a couple of lads firing up there. We're 1 apiece.
And that nicely brings us on to game 7. And the Devils, who got a dramatic 2-1 smash and grab last week against the 10-man Sloths, hosting 9th placed Astor, who had that thumping 4-0 win over Northern Burn. I will quickly give you a bit of team news, and then I will let you guys talk about the teams respectively. We have made one change, and we've also made a slight tactical tweak because of the fact we are playing Alf. We wanted to freshen up just a little bit, and we think we found just a little area where we could hopefully exploit. There's no new injury worries. The change is purely tactical, and that is the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is replacing Roy Mackay in the lineup. I won't tell you the tactical tweak. I'll let that be a surprise Sunday. And the only absentee of such is Pancaro, who is on just 90% fitness. Game 7 means that, Steve, you get to have the next sort of 3-4 minutes telling me why my top 6 dream will not go into Christmas.
Well, I'm certainly not going to say that. I think Al's probably been the most up and down side this year so far. We're getting a bit buggered himself, but then handing some out is it's interesting. But with yourselves being at home, I might have a slight idea of where you think you might be going with it. I can see you pulling a win. The only problem for me is, personally, in an home save where you can absolutely get numbers out and anybody in Super League, mostly. Solskjaer, I don't get or see it with him, but I still can't see that mattering, if I'm honest.
And Mr. Greeves, what should I be concerned about other than the fact that they were so convincing last week?
I don't know really. Alf, he always confuses me because he chops and changes so often that you don't really know what formation he's going to go for. You just know it's going to be narrow. So are you going to have 2 AMCs running? If he goes by what he did last week with the 3 DMCs running up, if you're able to hit him on the counter, he has no legs to stand on. And I think that's it. That's the key to. You got to take in the pressure and then hit him on the counter because he has so much bombing forward. I personally don't like more than 3 arrows on the side, but when you got like 19 arrows running forwards, there's going to be something changes when the ball goes. When you don't have the ball anymore, so I think he's gone. It paid off last week, but he's also not playing the players that are leaving. He's already stated this, so he's got a different player in the AMC position, and if he had someone better to play in that position, why was Henri playing in it? So,
well, you have both filled me with a lot of festive cheer. So for my prediction, having been on the end of more than one absolute spanking from Alf in the past, I'm going to say that the roles will reverse and the Devils will run out 4-0 winners. Steve?
Yeah, I was saying 3-1. I was saying 3-1 myself, mate.
And finally, Greavesy?
Yeah, I think you've got a 3-0 win lined up there, mate.
Right, so just to confirm, we've all gone for a Devils convincing win. So when we lose, and lose badly, it's not just my fault.
No, you set the ball rolling, though.
We haven't put your tactic out yet. Have you got that tactic generator out?
I've had the tactic generator out all season. Everyone's just trying to copy it now. It's become fashionable. Listen, lads, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Before we sign off, there's just one more thing to address, and that is why Senior Boyce is behind me. We did the transfer show midweek, and I signed off by saying at that point, I'd not spoken to anyone, I'd not done anything, and within about half an hour of that show concluding, I'd finished all of my deals. I had 4 players coming in, I had 2 players going out, and just thought I'd give you the opportunity to have your say. These haven't been made public yet, although I know one of you in particular is only too aware of what one of those are. So, Ste, I will let you know deal number 1. It was with Fulchester. They were the team who managed to prize Basiliuk out of my reserves. And in return, I am getting Dutch fullback stroke defensive midfielder Oya and former England international Kevin Phillips.
I think it were obvious from the off that Basiliuk were never in your plans. From you saying, especially you thought he'd be gone first window. I know I obviously spoke to you about him a couple of weeks ago. Sorry. I think Oya definitely gives you. I think the big one there for me is Phillips. He's a bit of a commodity on this game for me, and I've not seen much or anything of him in Super League. But I think there might be something there with him. He was one I were running my eye over a couple of times, but no, I don't think there's any gain or loss from either of you there. I think it's a fairly even deal because I'm only saying that because Basiliuk is known to be very good on the game. This level, who knows? But yeah.
Deal number 2 was with one Locomotive Boston. Mr. Greeves got the man he was after. So before we explain the deal, why don't you say who you signed and why you wanted him?
I signed the ever-reliable Italian international Giuseppe Pancaro, and he can operate. He will be my straight into. He won't be into the first team. He'll be on the subs bench against teams. I've noticed if I pick up, I like to have depth on my bench, and if I get an injury in wide positions, he is a reliable player to come in and fill the void. And I was lacking that player. As part of the reason why I really like Barsom is because he can play either side. Now I've switched. I've gone a bit more shithousery to play with full wing backs rather than wingers. So I've gone into that precaution. But even if I move into wingers again, Pancaro can fill in on those flanks in a defence. Say if like against Sloths, I was winning and then got a red card, I can bring a defensive option to come in and solid up the sides.
It makes sense, and that is one of the reasons. Versatility was why he was part of my first team plans, but he hasn't yet made an appearance, partly because he keeps getting these minor knocks where he's only 90% fit, and partly because, at the minute in the positions he's most likely to play in, Kieran Dyer and Gio are doing such a good job. The reason I let him go was partly because I got Oya in from Fulchester, and covering the other side, a former Devil is coming back, Christian Diaz. I'm hoping that now that I seem to have found a little bit of form, I can show what he can really do, because I don't feel his previous attempts at the Swindon Devils were ever going to be fruitful. And the reason Mr. Boyce is behind me is because slowly but surely I am rebuilding his title-winning Haller squad, because the second player to join the Devils as part of that deal is Tobias Gran, an attacking midfielder stroke forward who Boise got unparalleled levels of success within the Super League, to be fair. So I'm looking forward to integrating him into the team, and I think that now makes it 6, possibly 7 ex-Haller players within the Devils' ranks now. So we may have failed miserably as Dragon's assistant boss, but as the ghost of Christmas past and the spectre staring into my soul, he seems to be doing a job. And if you want any more proof, I went on his show and I'm now topping his leaderboard on Think or Swim. Who'd have thought it? Listen, lads, thank you very much for joining me. Good luck to you both on Sunday. And if we don't get to speak in person like this again, let me wish you both and all the Super League fans worldwide a very Merry Christmas. Until then, I will see you Sunday. Good night, fellas.
Good night, gents. See you later. Have a good Christmas.
Right, lads. Merry Christmas to everyone in Super League and all fans. See you, lads.